Hey Alta Labs fans, this is Jeff Hansen here, and we have just launched what we believe to be the easiest way to allow your guests to temporarily obtain Wi-Fi access. And this is great for hotels, for restaurants, for gyms, anything that's doing hospitality, maybe even schools, or even at home if you want temporary connections. So this is called our Vouchers feature. And what this is, what I'm going to start off with, we're going to go through a video of showing you how to use this. The easiest way to use it and the most scalable way is to first start creating some connection profiles. The reason why we recommend using connection profiles is because this allows you to create kind of a template that you will then use for all of your different types of vouchers that you create. This allows you to set common settings on each of your different types of connections so that they can be reused over and over again on your different vouchers that you actually create. So what we're going to go ahead and do here is create a connection profile. I'm going to start out with a standard connection profile. This is a standard speed. So if you have a guest VLAN, you would put that in here. I'm going to explain what all of these options are. So the network type is pretty standard, easy to understand if you've ever used Alta. Basically, and for vouchers, you generally want to choose something other than standard just because you will probably want some filtering done between the guests that use these connections versus your internal users of your Wi-Fi network. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to give these users internet access only. So they will not be able to reach out to anything else on the network. If you do have multiple VLANs, you're going to want to put them on their own guest VLAN and then make sure that you block that on your router, whatever router you're using. So yeah, for this profile, we're going to use internet network type. We're going to say they can download and upload at 50 megabits a second. You can actually specify how many devices can be connected at a time using this voucher. So for example, if you're handing out a whole bunch of different vouchers, you probably want to only allow 1 or 2 devices to connect with that voucher during the time period where the voucher is active. Also, we have the option of allowing the oldest devices. So when a new device connects, it will either kick out the old one or allow the new one, or vice versa, depending on this option. So we have that option available. We have the standard Alta features, so you can bypass the hotspot, the schedule, and the filter. You can watch our other videos to understand those a little bit better. Something that's a little bit newer is we have the ability to set a duration. So by default, the duration is 4 hours. Usually that's long enough for someone to use a voucher, get on the internet, be there for a little while, and then they'll usually leave because these are for temporary guests. If you do want it to extend longer than that, you can set that to 24 hours, 72 hours, whatever you want. This duration starts once the voucher has been activated. So the timer doesn't start until the user has actually either typed in the voucher, in the case of an open network, or used the PSK when they're connecting via WPA PSK with the password. Then the other option here is single use. So this is important if you want the voucher to only work one time, and then once the duration expires, it will actually not be functional anymore. So this allows you to make the voucher work for 4 hours or whatever, and then once the 4 hours is up, it will expire. And then I'll show you later on how you can reactivate those old vouchers very easily so that you can actually recycle and see how often they're being used. All right, so let's go ahead and set up this standard speed profile. So we've created that. Let's create another profile called Premium. And vouchers are really easy. I mean, you can print out the vouchers, you can hand them out to people, you can email them, and then once they use them, they'll expire if they're single use. And you can give different settings like bandwidth, which VLAN. We're going to set this up on the internet again. We're going to say, if someone pays a premium for their internet access, we're going to give them a higher download limit. So we're going to give them a premium profile that they would then use to access the internet. We're still going to say, well, we're going to let them use 1 more device than 2 because they're paying a premium for it. It's still going to last 4 hours, and it's going to be single use. And we'll go ahead and add that. Okay, and then let's set up 1 more profile. So these profiles, I'm going to say we're going to use them for like individual users. So they're going to be something that an individual just uses one time and then it's done, and then it would need to be renewed if we wanted to use that voucher code again. This is another option. I'm just going to set up something. So let's say you have a guest who's paying for a conference at a hotel. We want to be able to give them access to the IoT devices, the Chromecasts and AirPlay devices, so we're going to set them up on guest instead of just internet only. Maybe set them up on a different VLAN, their own VLAN. We're going to allow them all, because they're paying for their Wi-Fi, to have 200 down and up. But this is a conference, and this voucher for this profile, we're going to say that, we know that there are 300 attendees, so we're going to allow 300 devices maximum at a time. Now this is at a time, so it's not the number of devices that have used it, it's a concurrent maximum. So however many devices are connected right now, that's the maximum for that. And since this is a conference and everybody's using the same voucher code, we're going to set that to 300. And then this is also, we're going to say this conference lasts for 3 days. So basically, from the time the first user logs in using this voucher code to 3 days, this voucher code will work. And after that, it's going to shut off. So that's a really easy, scalable way to set up a conference connection profile. So that's connection profiles. Once you've got those set up, you actually need to set them up in your Wi-Fi connection. So the thing about profiles to remember is that these are global. Just like SSIDs, with Alta Labs products, you can share them across different sites. And so that means that these connection profiles can be used on any site with any SSID, with any password that you have on any site. And so you do need to take caution when you delete them. It will delete them from all SSIDs and all passwords, all vouchers that may be referencing this connection profile. So you do need to keep an eye on which ones you've got here and make them maybe detailed enough so that if you do have a lot of sites, that they're at least identifiable easily to a specific type of site. But it does make it very easy to share the same settings between a whole bunch of different sites in a scalable way that way. So let's keep moving on to Wi-Fi. So we have our hotel Wi-Fi here that we're pretending we're Hotel Alta. I've already got a normal password-based security network set up here, and there are a few things to understand with vouchers on Alta Wi-Fi. So there are two different types of security that you can use for vouchers. One is password-based and one is open. So with open, you'll want to set up a captive portal and enable the hotspot. So let's do that real quick. So with open, we don't usually, you can do it either way, but the user experience is a little bit better with passwords. That's why we generally recommend passwords. But you can also do it, a more traditional way that requires the user to manually type in a voucher. So if you do want to enable a captive portal, you can set up an open Wi-Fi network, and so there's no authentication when they get onto the Wi-Fi, but then when they join the Wi-Fi, obviously it's going to pop up a window and ask for a password to get onto the network. So you need to make sure that you enable the hotspot on your open network. And then what it will do is, in addition to the password that's used here, you can have a password or not, you don't need one, but you also just start adding vouchers to the network. So it'll use, if there's no password, then obviously it's not going to use the password to authenticate. But if you do have any vouchers, it'll use these vouchers to authenticate the user in the captive portal. So I've created a password-based voucher here. When you create the voucher, it'll use no profile, right? So basically everything under here is what's going to apply to that voucher. If you want to create a voucher that applies a specific connection profile, you just go in here and you select standard speed. And so, for example, now this voucher, when someone uses this code on this Wi-Fi in the captive portal, they will get the standard speed profile, which limits them to 50 megabits up and down. Okay, so that's basically how you set up a voucher in general. Now we're going to go a little bit more into how it works with the password-based security. Now, what's really cool with password-based is you can actually use a QR code to connect to the Wi-Fi. So instead of requiring them to open up the captive portal, so we're going to turn off hotspot here, because in password-based security, when you're using vouchers, you don't need to have a captive portal. So they'll just use the password that you've given them or the voucher to get onto the Wi-Fi as their password. So it works very similarly to Alta Pass, where you can have a whole bunch of different passwords, and based on the password that's used, it gives them different access. Well, it's the same idea here with vouchers. So if you give out a voucher, it will use the connection profile and the various settings attached to that voucher for their connection when they connect. So you can add individual vouchers. You can also add a whole bunch of different vouchers at the same time. So let's say we want to add 5 vouchers at standard speed. So it'll go ahead and create all those. We'll add 5 vouchers at premium speed, add those, and then you can scroll through these. You can see that the first 5, this is standard. This one starting here is premium. And then we'll add another 5 that are, well, we'll just add one because we'll just use this once here. This is a conference voucher. And so you can see that last one is the conference profile. Now it'll use the profile here as the basis for all of its settings when someone uses this voucher code, but you can also override it. So if you set any of these settings here below, it will then override any settings that were in the profile. So you can override single use, the duration, the upload and the download rate, specific to a certain profile code. Now, normally you don't do that, but if there is a use case for that, you can definitely do it here. Okay, so that's basically how you set it up, and then you hit save at the bottom. And now users can connect to the Wi-Fi, this Hotel Alta Wi-Fi, using these codes. I will explain a few things on here. So once someone uses the code, if there is a duration set, you'll see that it's being used, and then once the code expires, it'll change to a cycle option. And that means that the code's been used and that it has expired. So you can go through and you can look at you can select the ones that have been expired, and you can re-enable them. You just click on the button. So say for example, someone's used the voucher and their time is up, and it's a tenant who checked in, checked out. You want to reuse that code again with somebody else, you just check the button here and then you can hand back out that code again. So you'd select all the expired, enable them again, and then usually you would export them as well. So the cool thing about passwords, like I talked about before, is you can actually use a QR code to connect to the Wi-Fi. So your guests don't actually need to type in the password at all. They just scan the QR code with their phone and they're on the Wi-Fi for however long you've specified here. So I'm going to show you how to do that now. You just choose which ones you actually want to export. So let's say I want to just export these first 5. These are our standard ones. Then you say export selected. You can enter a text here. If you want to inform your users, what maximum devices, how many devices they can use at a time, what bandwidth they'll be using, and how long it's going to last, you can include that information on what gets printed out, and then we'll go ahead and export it. Okay, so it's been exported, and then we're going to open the PDF. So this is something that you can easily print out. You can take a screenshot of it and email it, but it has all the information that someone would need to connect. So for password-based security, it's going to have the QR code here on the right side, and your guests can use that QR code to then connect to it. When they connect to it, it'll give them 50 megabits a second up and down for up to 2 devices across the campus for 4 hours, and then it'll shut off. And you'll see that it shuts off in here in the user interface, and then you can reactivate it if you want to. For open security, you will not see the QR codes over here on the right side, because with open security, you have to use the captive portal, and people will log into the captive portal. They'll type in this code manually, and we've tried to, avoid characters that are harder to read, like L's and 1s and different things like that. So it should be an easy to read code that's easy to type in, and then obviously they have all the information about how they're connecting and what parameters they're allowed to use when they're connecting. So I think that about covers it for how to use this, how to set it up. We hope you love this feature. We hope you use it. If you have any comment or feedback, please visit our forums at forum.alta.inc. Thanks a lot for being Alta Labs fans. Have a great day.